you very much. We can have our seats. Infrastructure and Public Utilities, Ekiti State, Professor Mobolaji Aluko in our midst. We also have the Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Water Resources, Osun State, Mr. Sunday Olufemi Oruniyi. We also have in our midst the Executive Director of Planning and Design, Engineer Aziz Adeoye, FNSC, FNIWE. We also have the Executive Director of Engineering, Engineer Babalola Olatunji, FNSC, FNIWE. We also have the Acting ADFIA, Mr. Babatunde Adu, in our midst. We also have the Director Legal, Mrs. Judith Agu, in our midst. We also have the SA Water, Rural Water and Environmental Sanitation Agency, Osun State, Honorable Odelade Olarewaju. You are welcome, sir. We also have the Deputy Director of Construction, Operation and Maintenance, Osun River Basin Development Authority, Engineer Titi Adeyemo in our midst. You are welcome, sir. I'm still expecting the list from the ministry. The list from the ministry is not yet with me. So when I have it, we'll announce the dignitaries from the ministry. Now we go straight to the welcome and address as I invite the Executive Director of Engineering, Engineer Babalola Olatunji, FNSC, FNIWE, for the welcome address. Let's put our hands together for him.
The Honorable Commissioner, Water Resources, Osun State, the SA Water Resources, Osun State, the EDP, the Director Legal, the Director FIA, Deputy Director Com, the Assistant Directors here, and all other members of staff. Let me start. Let me welcome you to our gathering focusing on sustainable power and innovation in Nigeria. Today, we come together to tackle and battle issues crucial to our national development. In Nigeria, we need sustainable power and optimized irrigation is paramount. By embracing renewable energy and efficient irrigation, we pave the way for economic growth, environmental preservation and food security. Let us collaborate, innovate, and share knowledge to forge a path towards a sustainable future for all Nigeria. Thank you all for being here.
Welcome address, also from the ministry, the Spain preparatory team. We have Engineer Ogumakiwa Akinloye Dixon, Assistant Director, Dam Safety. We also have Engineer Pelu Gaba, Chief Irrigation Engineer. And we also have Adekola Mohamed Bada. We also have Engineer Tajuddin, World Bank Consultant, and Abdullahi Abdurrahman, Assistant Chief Irrigation Engineer. Now we'll go straight to the declaration of the workshop open. As I invite the Executive Director of Planning and Design of Osun River Basin Development Authority, Engineer Aziz Adeoye, to declare the workshop open. Let's put our hands together for him.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, honorable commissioners, present, members of the Executive Director of Engineering, Ogun River Basin Development Authority, the Spain team from Abuja, the other management and staff of Ogun River Basin Development Authority. You are welcome to this workshop. Like the Executive Director of Engineering has said, this sustainable power and irrigation for Nigeria's Spain project is a very important project in this Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation's effort and commitment to promote and naturalize dams and irrigation development by increasing water storage, hydropower development and irrigable area, building of irrigation infrastructure, and strengthening capacity to manage irrigation water effectively, which are all essential components of water resources development towards attaining national food security. In line with the federal government's Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President, the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation is collaborating with the World Bank in preparing a project titled Sustainable Power and Irrigation in Nigeria Project, acronym SPIN. SPIN is one of the several ministry programs chaired towards the development of irrigation and drainage in the country and aims to secure and maximize the socio-economic value of water storage and support institutions to develop irrigation, protect people from floods and drought, and contribute energy security through hydropower development. SPIN proposes that dam infrastructure should be designed, constructed, and operated to consider various co-benefits or multi-purposes, including generating electricity, storing drinking water, irrigation, protection against floods, and prevention of drought. It is also advocates the participation of federal and state government towards fully harnessing the irrigation potential of the existing water storage to achieve at least nothing less than 500,000 hectares of irrigable land by year 2030. 500,000 hectares in the whole of irrigable land by year 2030 through defining the roles and responsibilities of the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, River Basin Development Authorities, RBDS, states, and Water Users Association. Furthermore, the project aims at supporting the government to create sustainable governance structures and institutions on integrated water resources management in Nigeria. I believe that all the states in Nigeria should benefit from this program, though it is not free, but the state governments will have to do their own counterpart funding or counterpart funding, let me put that way, so that we all know. Because this workshop is essentially for the southwest states of Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, Osun, Ondo, and Ekiti State. And we expect all the other state commissioners for water resources in the other states to be here, so that they will benefit from the inputs from the project initiator from Abuja. So on this note, I welcome you all and declare this workshop open for the benefits of women and development of our country, Nigeria. Thank you all.
brief on SPIN project. So as I invite Engineer Bello Gaba to give us a brief on the SPIN project. Thank you very much.
Honorable Commissioner for Water Resources, Ekiti State, Osun State, Special Advisor on Water Resources from Osun State, the Executive Directors of the Osun River Basin Operations. I stand by the existing protocols to give a brief on the sustainable power and irrigation for Nigeria, known as SPIN. This program is promoting federal and state partnership with extracting more value and resilience from integrated water storage in Nigeria. We have the broad state of the sector and challenges. One, the SPIN, we have the tapped and untapped potentials in this country. Water is fundamental for agriculture, as we all know. Climate resilience leading to economic development, job opportunities, and food security. The untapped irrigation potential in Nigeria. It was observed that only 57% of the 6.7 million metric tons of rice consumed in Nigeria annually is locally produced. Out of 3 million hectares of potential irrigation, only 7% is currently developed. The federal government has the goal of 500,000 hectares by the year 2030. Nigeria has over, not 600, but over 410 dams of all types and capacity, and many are not optimally utilized or they are at risk. In 2022, the 2022 flood led to a direct economic damage of about $6.7 billion US, which is about 1.6% of the GDP. The storage system protects people from floods and drought while providing sustainable water and energy services in a changing climate. Hydropower potential is essential at over 14,120 megawatts, which implies that 85% of which remains untapped. SPIN aims to secure and maximize socio-economic value of water storage and supports institutions to develop irrigation, protect people from floods and drought, and contribute to energy security. We have the main infrastructural gaps of the Nigerian water resource management sector. The gaps of water security, we have the legal framework study, we have the training lessons learned, we have in a tabular form, we have we have the legal framework, we have the irrigation, we have the storage management, and we have the hydropower, which has been itemized in the table as we are seeing it from the screen. However, the existing federal water legislators comprises of National Water Resources Institute Act, River Basin Development Authority Act of 1987, Water Resources Act of 1993, Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency Established Act in 2010, and National Irrigation and Drainage Policy and Strategy of 2016. What are the opportunities that we may be extracting We may be extracting more value and resilience from integrated water storage. One, we'll have the dams, which can store, regulate, and redirect water for agricultural production, hydropower generation, human and industrial use, and flood control. Most dams have multiple purpose potential. Two, dam infrastructure should be designed, constructed, and operated to consider various co-benefits, including generating electricity, storing drinking water, and irrigation, protecting against floods and preparing for drought. Part of the highlights you can see in the diagram is what the resilience from integrated water storage. From the reservoir, that is the hydropower, then we could see even from the flood irrigation, the pumping station, and the river, the drain, and the canals. We have the lateral canals as well. Spin as a platform to catalyze key opportunities. The vision of the irrigation sector is participation of both federal and state governments. It fully harnesses the irrigation potential of the existing water storage and achieve the national goal of the 500,000 hectares by 2030. Defining the roles and responsibility of the Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, River Basin Development Authorities, states, and water users associations. What can SPIN achieve? We'll have to look at the out preparation. We have the standards and operating procedures. That's the SOP for irrigation and financing mechanism for the overall operation and maintenance of the POM. This also includes the state irrigation projects through selection criteria, including co-financing. At implementation, proposed amendments of the River Basin Development Act, the PBC, 2. 1. Streamline the roles and responsibilities of the River Basin Development Operations Authorities. Set legal basis for the Water Users Association establishment and operations. Thus, a draft Water Users Association regulation under training. Improved the River Basin Development Authority governance framework to strengthen participation and accountability of the stakeholders and states. We have the Sustainable Power and Irrigation for Nigeria, the SPIN. That is the PDO. We have that needs to improve the safety of the existing dams and enhance the associated climate and resilience irrigation services, and strengthen the hydropower planning in Nigeria. We have the project component as well. One is institutional strengthening and capacity building for irrigation, hydropower, and storage management. Irrigation modernization is another factor. We have rehabilitation and improvement of the hydropower and storage services. We have the project management. These are the project components of the SPIN. We have the institutional strengthening and capacity building for integrated water resources management, which will improve the irrigation, hydropower, and flood management in Nigeria. One, we have the institutional strengthening of the integrated water management, which is to review the existing government policies, institutions, regulations, and guidelines on the Institute for Water Resources Management. That's a review of the draft water bill. 2. Recommend the revisions to the existing government policies, institutions, regulations, and guidelines on dam safety and management. The irrigation aspect. 1. is the roles and responsibilities defined between relevant agencies on irrigation management, river basin development authorities, water users associations, and the state governments. 2. Review of the National Development Plans, National Water Resources Master Plan of year 2013 to achieve the 500,000 by the year 2030 and beyond to achieve the national food security. The hydropower management component. 1. To review the Ministry of Power's role in hydropower planning and development, operation and maintenance of the hydropower plants, public versus the PPP. Review of the Nigerian 2015 National Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Policy, NREEEP, and prepare National Hydropower Development Strategy to harness the hydropower potential in the country. The component 2 of the Irrigation and Agricultural Services Modernization. 1. The irrigation infrastructure investment comprises the assessment and strengthening of water resources and schemes performance. 2. Improvement and rehabilitation with climate resilience consideration. 3. The operation and maintenance of treatment schemes. Number 2. Improving irrigation management is part of the component 2 of the Irrigation and Agricultural Service Modernization, which is engineering surveys, investigations, and designs. Water Users Association, the River Basin Development Authority, strengthening and fee collection. The third aspect under the component 2 is the strengthening of farmer organization and expansion of value chain development. Under it, we have the strengthening farmer organization for improved access to markets, inputs, and services. We have value chains development opportunities. 3 comprises of the rehabilitation and improvement of hydropower and storage works and studies. 1. Dam rehabilitation, improvement, and dam risk assessment for all large dams. Rehabilitation of about 20 to 30 dams, seepage reduction, hydrological and structural safety measures, strengthening dam structures, sections, foundation, damages, and basic facilities. This is under hydropower and sustainable energy. There is need to evaluate the status of hydromechanical assets, retrofitting potential of hydropower in the existing dams, evaluate solar panel potential in dams and potential piloting. Component 4 of the SPIN is the project management. We have the PIU setting. Example, the PMU is under the Directorate of Irrigation of Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation. The subcomponent of the PMUs from Director Dams and Ministry of Power, Hydropower Directorate reporting to the main PMU considered the establishment of National Committee chaired by the Permanent Secretary. 2. Monitoring and evaluation. 3. Management Information System, that's the ICT. 2. The criteria is being used to rank states to prioritize only states that have shown strong commitment. Reforms being promoted by SPIN can only succeed if there is strong partnership with states. Criteria that will help to identify committed states will be enlightened. Using the criteria evaluation scores ensures transparency in selection processes. Admission of states into SPIN will be on first come and first served basis. I wish to thank you for listening to this brief on this sustainable power irrigation for Nigeria. Thank you very much, sir.
Honorable Commissioners. We'll start with the Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Infrastructure and Public Utilities, Ekiti State, Professor Mobolaji Aluko, for his remarks and good messages. Let's put our hands together for him.
Yes, the name is Aluko, Professor Aluko, and I want to thank our host. I guess it's the River Basin Authority for being our host, and for our Abeokuta State for being even the larger host to this application. I want to say hello to my Honorable Commissioner we just met, and to the honorables that we have met here. This is an important occasion. Nigeria is blessed with a lot of resources, too many of them underutilized. And we have, this here is an interesting way of combining, of ensuring that a resource addresses several things at the same time. We just listed here two of them. That's just irrigation and power. But of course, the water resources are for drinking, for if it's large enough, for recreation. If it's even large enough for fisheries. In addition to the issue of flood control and drought preparation. So actually we have about 7 things that most of our water resources are available to do. And we should, in each instance, evaluate each one of those and see which one does the best for us. As I mentioned to my colleague, the water problem in Nigeria is also an electricity problem. We cannot solve the water problem if we do not solve the electricity problem. You can look at water all you want, but if you cannot move it from A to B, I mean, there's a treatment problem, there's a pipes problem, but if you cannot move that water from A to B, you can't even test the pipes to see whether they are working or not. So the issue of actual power is important, especially in this particular environment where we now have a deregulated electricity environment, and states now can focus on ensuring that the water resources within their boundaries also assist them in increasing power, not only even to run the dams themselves, but to serve the people around the dam. My state is one of those 3 states that complete authority has been ceded to us from NERC, Enugu and Ondo State and the other 2 states. And we are keen on ensuring that we maximize all the resources available to us to ensure that our people are well fed through all year-round farming. The South is really far behind in terms of irrigation. But we think we have enough water. We really don't have enough water to run the entire region. We need to take full advantage of this. And then the issue of electricity too. We are too far behind. 4,000 megawatts for a 200 million people is a shame. It's a big shame. And it's because we have not been doing what the issue of states taking control of the electricity resources, because the primary resources are local, the energy needs are local, and you should therefore address them local. And Spain is one of those
responsibilities. And I look forward to ensuring that Ekiti State is early on taking on as well.
The Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Water Resources, Osun State, Honorable Sunday Olufemi Oroni, let's put hands together for him.
I want to say good afternoon to everyone here. It's my pleasure once again to be part of this program. By the time the letter was written to my state in January, I told my governor, let us try this project. I went for the workshop. And when it was introduced to us, by the time we were having the seminar, the presentations, I was communicating Osun State. Communicating in the sense that I was trying to get some information, to get some data that will assist in making my own presentation. But one thing I observed is that this project is very laudable. I want to give it to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for introducing this project to Nigerians. Very, very laudable. Because in the sense that if we are able to solve the problem of food, if the food are in abundance, definitely our problems are solved. Because what we have today is a problem of what we want to eat, especially for 3 days or for 3 meals per day. But we thank God that we have him on grant, and he has this project that is covering all the 36 states. When I was making my presentation there that day, I joined my Honorable Commissioner to express our displeasure about our attitude, especially in Southwest, to obtaining this kind of opportunities. When the North were making their presentation, you will see that we are far away from them in terms of irrigation. I was so surprised when I saw a colleague, a commissioner from Borno State, who came with his own presentation that day, and it was very technical, and you see that things have really improved in terms of farming in the northern states. But there I was able to make case for the southerners, especially on our landmass, and we thank God the 1,000 hectares was commuted to 500 hectares per scheme. If not, it would have been 1,000 now, which is so difficult for us to get in the southern states. I believe that the training program, which was termed to fail, we believe that because the states were not participating in the program, but this PAIN program now, it's a federal and state program. States will participate and federal government will also. So when you are domiciling projects in your state, you don't have any cost not to monitor, not to see to the end of the project, even not to see, you must see to the delivery of the project. So the federal government is handling the projects to the state, not even the state alone, to the locals. Because to establish WUAs in all the schemes, that means we are dealing with the locals, we are dealing with the communities. And when I got the letter last week to come for this program, I made a meeting. I caused a meeting, interministerial meeting, about 5 to 6 commissioners, ministries. We sat together. The Ministry of Land, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Ministry of Budget, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Lands, and we sat down. And then we now came to that conclusion that if I know that the state is serious, because for my governor to commit himself to it, that means he's very serious on behalf of the state. If we are able to achieve this project,
is going to solve a lot of problems we're having in the state and by extension in the country as a whole. So I want to appreciate the President, appreciate the Honorable Minister for Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, the Minister and the Minister of State. Then I want to appreciate the Ogun River Basin. This is my first time of coming here. We have been yearning, we have been longing to come here to visit you even before the exit of the former managing director. I don't know whether I'm correct. Okay, and I know that another person has been appointed. But that's not the issue now. The issue is Osun State is ready to collaborate very well with Ogun River Basin. Not only on spring program, all other programs that are very germane to the development of our people in the state. So I welcome everyone here, and I want to wish you again happy deliberation. Thank you, and God bless you.
Good afternoon, all. The Honorable Commissioners, you are welcome. Our organs from Abuja, on behalf of my governor, I want to appreciate you for the level of your support. We appreciate what you are doing, and we will continue to play our role. Go by this project. It's a very laudable project because of the many opportunities that are attached. I want to assure the World Bank, the federal government, that Osun State is fully ready. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that sentiment. Let's put our hands together for him.
Every stakeholder in water sector present in this national program, starting from the Honorable Commissioners to the Executive Directors of Ogun River Basin Development Authority and all the staff. We are glad to be with you, and we are really encouraged for your participation in this meeting. I thank my colleagues for the good presentation, the brief on SPIN project. I just want to add one or two things to the brief. Number one, I want the meeting to know that over the past 2 decades, effort to reform the irrigation sector and improve its governance system has been ongoing. Irrigation development is essential to the sustainable growth of agricultural production in Nigeria. We are all aware that the primary agenda of this current government is food security. We know that when food is there, everyone can survive. And with what we have seen in Nigeria now, we don't have any option than to support irrigation development, because we cannot continue to depend on rain-fed agriculture. And that is why the northern Nigeria, the northerners, or the northern part of this nation, they produce more food than not because of the knowledge and their passion, the understanding of irrigation development. So they are making best use of the opportunity around them. As one of the presenter today earlier said, we have some dams underutilized. Being underutilized is also disastrous to our nation, because dams supposed to can control flood, but where it's not put into operation, there is tendency that it can contribute to flooding. So as I've said, to improve irrigation development, the federal government in 2016 launched the National Irrigation Development Program 2016 to 2030 with the global, with the goal of developing 500 hectares of irrigable land. The SPIN proposes that dam infrastructure should be designed as my colleague has said. And I know that some of you are familiar with trimming projects, which will be concluding very, very soon. They have recorded achievement, laudable achievement, and this time around, it's an opportunity for us in the Southwest to also benefit. So, in this meeting today, we have somebody, a staff from trimming projects that's also present. And I also want to let you know that the World Bank representative is here today also to participate in this, our discussion. So, there is a gap. The trimming project, we learn a lesson from trimming projects that state involvement was not really there. And we cannot do, federal government cannot do without the state because you are the receiver. So that is why the SPIN is going to accommodate states, and the success of SPIN project is going to be determined by the level of participation of the states. So that is why we are glad to see some states present here today. And I know that you are aware that the ministry wrote earlier to introduce this project, SPIN project, to you, so that you can show your interest. And with what I've heard today, the level of readiness is high. So we are glad to report back when they go back that the states are over ready. That is good. I think we need to appreciate the state for that. The preparation of the project is in the first stage of screening and selection criteria of the World Bank. You know, World Bank project has criteria which it must fulfill. So, and because of what my colleague has earlier said, because of the little resources, we have to adopt a screening criteria to justify our selection. For this, we are not sure if it will accommodate all the states. We are not sure. So, as my colleague said, it's first come, first serve. So the ministry have received from some states. And one thing that we also let you to know today is that this program we are doing now is going on in other geopolitical zones. And what we have decided is to just use some designated river basin where the states will come together. So, as I've said, the criteria become necessary because the limited fund available, is available, and the only way to justify the selection of the state that will benefit from it is by transparent screening exercise, which we are here to do. At the The same exercise is going on across other geopolitical zones, as I've said. I need to also inform you this forum that the team is ready to provide clarification as I'm going to make this the criteria to you, as I'm going to present criteria to you. The team from Abuja is ready for clarification of any issue of concern to the participant, and we're expected to leave with a clear direction after this presentation and checking of documents. Now I want to read the criteria to you. As I earlier said, some states have indicated interest by writing. So this forum is for us to let you know the criteria, and as many that have brought their documents, we are going to assess the document together, and the final decision will be taken from the presentation and documentation. So the first thing, A, demonstrated commitment. Demonstrated commitment is very, very key. It's very, very key. Demonstrated commitment. So A1, under A1, we have availability of law or passage of legislation recognizing formation and function of water users association in the irrigation and drainage subsector. It is expected because everybody needs security. The Water Users Association needs security. They will want their investment to be protected. So, under this one, description of type of documentation required to satisfy this criteria. We are looking at a copy of the state law providing legal recognition. Providing legal recognition. Under this also, we have a written commitment if a state doesn't have it currently. A written commitment can be adopted. A written commitment from the state government to establish the law within 6 months of project effectiveness. So, if you have it, you just say yes. If you don't have it, it's no. Under A2 criteria, commitment to support workers to maintain, operate, and manage tertiary canals and other farm level infrastructure on both federal, river basins, and state schemes. It's very, very important because it will be like a social support, social services. We need to support them. Under this one, we'll be looking at available budget line for operation and maintenance support for WUAS. If your states have a budget line for that, to be well and good. A written commitment from state government to financially support WUAS on operation and maintenance needs of secondary and tertiary system. This one is necessary in case that you have not created a budget line. There should be a written commitment, because by your commitment we believe that you will stand by your promise, since you have known that Nigeria cannot survive without food security. Number 80, we look at 80. Appropriation and release of counterpart funds as follows. There will be one of the commitment from the state will be your Catapult funds. It shows your level of commitment and readiness. And we have 2 models. Spain has 2 models. Model 1, the state must have minimum of 200 million. 200 million naira, not dollars, so we should not be afraid. Spain, model 2 state must have minimum of 500 million naira. So this will be paid in first model. The payment should be made to designated federal account. While model 2 will be paid to designated state account. Because this one, you are going to block a loan directly. You are going to block a loan directly. That is for model 2. That is first criteria. The first criteria will determine whether you need this criteria B. Maybe you need to be. The first criteria is the primary. Just succeeding or in the criteria A. We move to criteria B. Criteria B says existing scheme requiring rehabilitations and potential for expansion for maximum leveraging of some cost. So what he's telling us today is that irrigation development shouldn't be new to you, should not be new to your state. It's something that you have been practicing that needs support to boost the production, to boost the agricultural activities. So, under that one, what we need from you, present available documentation on sustainable or suitable scheme. If you have any irrigation scheme, you just show us, you just present it today. It will be part of the document we'll be taking back home. B2, availability of facility study report. So what we're expecting from you, share feasibility and detailed design report. If you have existing irrigation project, if you have a document to support it, that it has been carried out by a social standard. B3, we have availability of suitable land and soil. Availability of suitable land and soil. This one also, there should be a report. And even after the report, I also want to inform you that there will be need for sightseeing on the spot assessment, which will come up later after the screening process. Before, the size of the irrigation scheme should not be less than 500 hectares of land. Please let's know this. And there should be a report, a document to prove that you have such a scheme. B5, availability and reliable water resources without creating major conflict to others users. What we are saying here, when we are talking of irrigation, there must be a storage which irrigation feed is depending on water that is feeding the irrigation. We are expecting that maybe upstream infrastructure, what do we call it, concrete weir, dam structure, and other water infrastructures that we support irrigation development. It's very, very important. BCs, we have farmer, occupier, and tenure system preferred. He said, note, what we expect, he said, note on land tenure system issue. And the acquisition, this one is talking about the acquisition of land. We move to C. After this one, we move to C. Criteria 6. Implementation, readiness, and disbursement readiness. So what we are looking at it. So this was to be evaluated as second stage. This particular one, implementation readiness and disbursement readiness. This will be the second stage of the evaluation. But we wanted to know what we're expecting after this screening today. Commitment to project security. Project security. You know, the security of the state is the responsibility of the state government. So there should be readiness for that. Commitment to project security. Because we know the situation in the country where there is no security, people are afraid. There are some places that I don't know amount of money you give me that will go. There are some places in this country. So
You are a federal officer.
we must be very, very wise. It's when you are alive that you can see the good of this land. So life is very, very important. Even the government is aware. And the World Bank is aware. Number C2, we look at competitive recruitment of qualified project staff. Don't forget, this one will be the second stage after this one. We're also looking at institutional sector, office accommodation. We look at authorized signatory and opening of account, because you are going to manage the account, your counterpart account. Signing of the subsidiary loan agreement with Federal Ministry of Finance. World Bank assessment, that is sorry for this one, E&S. Engineer Bukoyi, can you? World Bank assessment. Okay. Environment and social. Okay. The last one is any demonstrated commitment criteria not already met at entry. Any demonstrated commitment criteria not already met at entry. This one may be accommodated in the second phase. So I've come to the end of the presentation. If there is need for clarification before the presentation of your document, we have some experts. As I told you, the World Bank representative is here, who has been involved in so many.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to bring in the World Bank consultant to chip in the World Bank perspectives of solution into the program. Let's put our hands together for engineer. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Good day, everyone. Yes, I want to welcome the commissioners from Ekiti State, Osun State, the advisor to the governor, the EDs, P&D, and the Nigerian services. I welcome you all, and my colleagues from Abuja, and the Bonjour Basin staff. You're all welcome. I want to start by appreciating the commissioner from Osun State And just to add to part of what he mentioned initially, actually, the first state engagement we had, that was the World Bank and the state engagement, was in January this year, where he was present. And like he said, he made a good case for the southern states of the country in terms of the requirement for land size, which was dropped from 1,000 hectares to 500, and equally awareness of the trimming project. SPIN is actually a stage 2 trimming project, but with an addition of hydropower component to it. So I want to appreciate him for his time and then his push for southern states. I want to add a bit on trimming. Trimming actually, I'm sure most of us are aware here, but for those who are not fully aware, trimming is actually transforming the irrigation management in Nigeria, which actually was executed in the northern part of the country, and it went well, where you have food security being improved, farmers empowerment, improvement of irrigation mechanization, and so on and so forth. So this is what gave rise to SPIN, which is like trimming 2. And if you ask, some people will be wondering why the acronym SPIN, which is the power component. In the past, I'm sure most of us know about the Dadinkowa project, which is in Gombe State. The dam was built like 4 decades ago, and they had impoundment without being utilized at all. So not until trimming came, they were like, what are you doing with the storage? They didn't have irrigation fields as such developed, and there was no hydropower. So, but through the intervention of trimming, now 40 megawatts is being generated in Dadinkowa, and I think like 2,000 hectares of irrigation fields are being developed. So I think that is the success story we saw and felt. There are several other existing storages that are not utilized or fully utilized in the country, and they are there. Oyan Dam is there, Ikere Gorge Dam is there, Ferenrua Dam is there. They are all all over the country. Meanwhile, we are not putting them into full use and will try to develop new capacities. So the drive of SPIN is to actually use these existing storages to increase food security and power security for the country. Can I look at the slides, the SPIN, just the slides here? Just to add a little flesh to a few things I felt were not properly addressed. The realization of the World Bank now for us to have a national spread, and we're now, that's part of what has got us here. So it was an oversight, so to say, but now the bank has realized it, and that is why we have SPIN coming up. Yeah. So, sorry, let me come this way. Because that before now, actually, we have over 600 dams in the country. Going by the present studies we did using scientific means and programs, so it's over 600 for that. And then, we can see that without irrigated farming in the country, food security will not be achieved. So without a project like this, food security will maintain or it will be a mirage. And you can see that from even hydropower potentials, it's only 15% that have been tapped. We have so much resources that we haven't done much about, and that is what SPIN is aiming to achieve. Next slide, please. Good. Yes, I'm sure you have been hearing about options Model 1 and Model 2. Model 1 was actually the federal government through the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation and the RBDs working with the WUAs. Now, because we need to upscale and achieve 500,000 hectares, there is the need for the states to come in, or else ownership will not be there because the WUAs are completely domiciled in the states. So the need for the states to come in. So scheme 1 was federal irrigation scheme where you have federal water resources, river basin authorities, and the WUAs. But in this new scheme now, which is option 2, and you're open to either 1 or 2, model 1 or 2. Model 2 is the state irrigation schemes, which have the states actually dealing with the bank directly to get funding, though to be overseen by the RBD. So I did actually learn lessons from what experiences RBDs and the Federal Ministry of Water Resources have learned. So probably two different models. One is the federal and the other is the state. And for your information, I'm sure you are aware, you can participate in the both of them. And one thing I want to quickly add before I continue is, I'm sure we have just 2 states here present, but ideally we should have like 5 states from the southern part of the country, 6 states. So we have Oyo, Ogun, Lagos, and which other state? No, it is here.
Ondo, Lagos, Oyo, and Ogun is here.
Yeah. So the message is that we should be our brothers' keepers. I heard the commissioner from Osun State saying that the commissioner for the water resources or agri from Ogun State said she was not aware of such engagement. But if I were her shoes, just for at the hearing, I will at least nominate somebody to represent us. This is what good. So this is what is achieved up north, readiness. Before you say bring this commitment, they're giving you 5, 6 more. So I implore you, the western state of the country, to talk to other commissioners and sensitize them, enlighten them so that they can key into this project and many more projects that will be coming. Can we let me see. Yeah, I think come back. Yes, no, come back. Yes, as part of the message I have for the states that are present and possibly will still get to reach the other states that are not here, is the component 3 step, sub-component 2, which is dam rehabilitation. Actually, there's an ongoing exercise which is dam safety portfolio risk assessment by the World Bank, so that we're able to know all the dams in the country and rank them in terms of risk. Because this component, if we have 400 or 600 dams in the country, how do we know which ones to actually start working on right now? Not having an idea. Not until this kind of exercise is done that we're able to say that the dam that needs utmost attention right now. Just like he shared in his criteria, that part of the reason why we're doing this is for transparency and openness. So nobody says I was kicked out, and nobody will say why not choose dams in my area and not in why not my area and other areas. And with this, I will want to say to the state government, please, it was an oversight too that we actually were dealing with the Ministry of Water Resources directly and the RBDs. Though we are aware of the state-owned dams used for water supply, irrigation, flood control, and what have you. So these are the avenues for us to actually catch up on that and inform you that this exercise is going on. At the end of this exercise, we'll share with you the template, and hopefully from 27th to the 4th of June, one of those days, we'll have a 2-hour session where we'll actually sensitize and bring up to speed those who are actually running the dams, so they can help us fill the templates for us to actually do the assessment and come up with the dams that we need to handle under component 3. So I think I'll continue with this. Yeah, continue. Continue. I think basically that is all. So at this stage, we will now open to questions and answers, and this is where I think we'll do justice to questions that we have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, Ekiti State is under Benin River Basin, and I believe they under, I guess, component or project 1, Spain number 1. They are having their meetings somewhere else. That's what I understood. But that needs to be clarified, because part of the problem we have with Benin is the lack of attention
to a number of the states. We know where that is for Ekiti, Ondo, Edo, and part of Delta. Okay? And we've had occasion in my state to write to the Federal Ministry of Water Resources complaining about the Benue River Basin and its lack of focus, because there's been so much attention on Edo and Delta. In fact, Edo in particular, where the managing director comes from. I will state it publicly. We need to have that changed. And I think that's part of the reason to why the trimming, at least as far as the southwest is concerned, or because that is Ekiti and Ondo, at least in Benue, we were not even aware of much of what was. And there have been one of the dams, and that leads to my second question, that one of the dams' irrigation has actually had a Benue River Basin involvement that has failed. It's a 500-hectare irrigation project. We are bringing it on our own side, but we don't really know whether Benue is trying to get it under project number 1. Okay, so that's one question we need to clarify. We have 2 projects we are bringing on board. One of them, long time, I'm talking about 20 years, 15 years, maybe 10 years, that Benue when they are trying to do it, did not in general involve the states. It failed, but we know it's important that we work on it. So that's really the major issue. I was happy that you were going to be providing a template for the safety of the dams, because again, as much as possible, let the states be in control of, know what is on in their own states. That the federal government has a site in the state does not mean the state is not interested in it. The federal government really has nothing that is not within the state. And we should always make sure that the states know that even the federal government is a state. A state program may not be a federal program, but the federal government program is a state program because it belongs in the state. Thank you.
I want to greet everyone for being in this session. I don't know whether it is right for us to go specific, especially to speak to the document, to speak to the criteria. I don't know whether it is right now.
The consultants, World Bank consultant, the ministry, should they go ahead? They say should go ahead, sir. Okay, thank you.
Looking at A, where we have A1 and A2. I'm speaking on behalf of Osun State now. Availability of laws or passage of legislation recognizing formation and functions of water user associations and the irrigation and drainage subsector. I tried to look at our water law. We have water law in the state where we have water consumer association. But when we now looked through, I observed that it has no bearing on the present scheme, especially irrigation. It has to do with the supply of potable water, and we have consumers coming together as association. But for this one, that means there is going to be, I have caused the governor to put up a written commitment, and that is the second one. A written commitment from the state government to establish the law within 6 months of project effectiveness. That one has been written, but because of the activities this weekend and today of my governor being conferred with a title and a birthday, I'm expecting that the letter will come to me later in the day. they get it scanned to me and I'll print it out for you before we leave by God's grace. So that A1 is taken care of, and at the same time commitment to support WOAS, which is the 1 and 2 available budget line. And of course we know this program started this year. Definitely you can't get that one. There's no budget line for it. And this year you are 2024. But since we have option of a written commitment, the commitment has been cost and has been written also by the governor too. That one will be submitted. An appropriation and release of counterpart fund. Like I said, he has committed himself on behalf of the state to go for the second stage or second spin. That's over 200 million. The commitment he has written, and this one also, another commitment has been written also to that effect. That 200 million naira.
200 or 500?
Two. We are taking 200 million. There is one for 200 and there is another one for 500. So we have picked 200 million for that. But A3, appropriation and release of counterpart funds as follows. It's been one state minimum of 200 million naira paid into designated federal account. This one has issue because my state, we believe that it should be paid into the federal designated state account, not federal account, state account, and the officers to man the account. We are working on it, and we are going to write the governor once we conclude this sitting. So you have to work on that and change it to, possibly change it to paid into designated state account, not federal account. On the technical aspect, we have issues with some of our dams in the state. By the time, like I told you, by the time we were discussing on last week with my team, we chose 3 schemes. One in Ogugu, another one in Ejibo, and also Ifeodo. And all the technocrats, they went around all these 3 schemes. These schemes are Ogun River Basin schemes. They went around and they chose Ejibo because Ejibo has the dam and at the same time has the land. There's even after, you know, the land is domiciled in the water corporation. Water corporation has its own expanse of land, and at the same time the land has the tendency of getting more extension, even more than 500 hectares. So we have chosen Ejibo water scheme. But the problem we have is that after some of these schemes were constructed and commissioned, the Ogun River Basin, they never handed over any document to the state. The Surveyor General, the Ministry of Lands, they searched through. They didn't see any kind of handing over. So I want to engage the Ogun River Basin. This is my trip. We are engaging ourselves. Most of these dams, they will bring out the archive. They go to the archive and get me all the documents, the drawings, and the build as built drawings, everything. So we want to. So we don't have currently. We don't have the drawings for the dams. The feasibility report, we have written that. Availability of suitable land soil, we have size 500, we have availability and reliable water source without creating major conflict to other users. It will take care of that. And now going to see implementation, readiness and disbursements ahead. We now go to the C5. The C5 really generated a lot of heat in my state. And I want, because when we finished the workshop that in Abuja, I asked to engage the director, especially about the loan. We want more clarification on that, because my state, after dropping counterpart fund, it may look impossible for my state to still go for another round of loan. We are currently paying a very huge repayment of loan, which has really destabilized some of the projects that the governor had in mind. But we believe that if we key into this project and the loan component is softened or it is well explained, so we will understand what the loan is. Once we know the nitty-gritty, we know the conditions, then we know whether we can. Because by the time I spoke with Madam, she told me that it's not going to be at the risk or expense of the state to make repayment. But signing of subsidiary loan agreement with Federal Ministry of Finance is a very strong commitment. And it's important for us to understand this concept now, so that we will not run into any kind of disadvantages. Thank you so much.
Yes. So since you don't have a viable irrigation scheme before, you might not have that in place. But that's why they said within 6 months, you have to at least comply with that. So don't fear about that. It's only people or states that have irrigation that they have water users association. They are the farmers on the irrigation scheme, and they even have autonomy to maintain their tertiary and all their facilities for themselves. So they have accounts, they have everything. That's that about that. The other issue is since you said you have chosen 3 schemes, I believe the World Bank will visit and look at it. You asked that Ogumosho, all these schemes are Ogumosho scheme, but intervention scheme added over to Osun State government. Now, you complain that you don't have any documentation to that. That's not a problem. But maybe you make your deposit of the 200 million to Ogumosho first. So on behalf, we can now go start with well, on a more serious note, the way World Bank loan work is that they will fund the Federal Ministry of Finance. Any state that's going to take any loan from them, it is the Federal Ministry of Finance of the nation that will guarantee the loan. And again, this 200, 500 million they put there, that's your own counterpart fund is. If you don't make it first, they don't see you as a serious partner in that exercise. Now, the other, they will tell you how much they loan and what belongs to your own state. Are you getting what I'm saying? So, the repayment is somewhere that they will do, and it's not, it might be 30 years, it might be 25 years. So they work it out that maybe, just example, you might be paying maybe 50 million every month from it's from source. That's why they always want the Federal Ministry of Finance to guarantee World Bank loan for the country. Sir?
But the state is not paying.
The state will pay by your allocation now. They deduct from source. But you know exactly how much your loan is, your facility is, and what will be monthly, and they can even give you moratorium, maybe 5 years from because they start the deduction. All these are things the governor will sort out, the World Bank and the Federal Ministry of Finance. So there shouldn't be anything that you fear of. Just like you said the other time, our northern counterpart doesn't fear all this. They don't at all. because they know what is 200 million to billions they are bringing to you. And in case there's a problem, it's the federal government of Nigeria. You know how much knows Nigeria, so they don't care about all this. I witnessed many of such. They don't care. So I think the other. Oh.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
The Honorable Commissioner of Water Resources in the Osun State. He said he didn't see any document in the office. Yes. But if you want to copy, I think after this session, you can go to the office and do the copy. You know it's so that way, so that come. Thank God it's not 200 million. Because Okuku, Ejigbo, Iragbedi and Ikeodo, I'm 100% sure that we handle over projects to Osun State. Even they requested for CPI from us, which we gave them. Yes. Complete one. Yeah. So it's at your secretariat now. You can ask your director here. We went to about 2 months ago. We saw the dam and we saw the parts of land there. So that means you can, I think you can command 500 hectares if you want. Not up to that. It's not up to that. Yes. You know, we were farming there before because of the security challenges that we are facing. We left the place. And we can see the water corporation facility there, the Osun State Water Corporation. So I say that we want to, the Ejigbo Dam, we give you the documents that we handed over to you. But the challenge that the Osun State is having is that they always complain that they don't have funds. That is the challenge the Osun State. When they wrote for these CPIs and we applied them, since that time, the CPIs is still lying found at your secretariat there.
What's CPIs?
Central Power Irrigation System.
96 hectares.
So, and you can ask, what about the dam now, about the document? I'm sure I'm going to give you the photocopy since you have the original. And if you're done too, even to have maybe you have the GM of the water corporation.
No, they didn't get. No, you know, some of these schemes, we have a small town water supply.
Yes, sir.
And we have a water corporation. Okay. So all this Ejigbo is under water corporation because dealing with urban.
What about the Iragbedi, sir?
Iragbedi is under small town.
It's water corporation because during the I went there and GM Water Corporation was there.
Then I was there anyway before they separated the.
So that you have all the documents. Then
that one is recent.
So, but don't worry, we have copy here. Okay. So I think after this session, maybe you go back. When are you going back on Wednesday? So
Tuesday now. You should finish today.
No, because I don't want you people to travel in the evening or in the night because of the security challenges we have.
Tomorrow. We can finish our session today. Yeah.
I have
to stop.
Indicate his own state's involvement. Let me quickly also state my own state's involvement. We have named, we are so keen on this, we have named our SPIN as SPI. That is Sustainable Power and Irrigation in Ekiti State. And we are actually two sponsoring agencies, the Agri and my ministry. The Commissioner for Agri actually traveled with the governor to the US, and that's why he's not here. He would have been here. Please move, just move it slightly Yeah. Two proposed schemes, one based at Itakaji Dam in the Ikole local government, and the other based at Ero Dam in Moba local government. Itakaji Dam right now, they are both potable water dams, and Itakaji is completely down. It has been down for quite some time. Just go down. Yeah, just go down. I don't know. This is just background information on the states. But in the questions asked, which I see are all in here, I have tried to respond to all the questions. And I think I've had Bello indicated to me, sorry, yeah. So the two dams, the name of the reservoirs, the rivers feeding them, one is about twice the size of the other. The volume of water go down, further down, the latitude and longitude. Both of them are embankment dams with concrete spillways. Potable water, 1975, 1985 they were built. With those capacities, the World Bank has spent quite some money rehabilitating Ero Dam. That is when, okay, you can see that between the maximum and minimum, hold on there please, it's almost about 10 times. Which means that if you design at the maximum, you can get 10 times, the further that you could get something like 200 kilowatts from it. But if you are designed at the maximum, you can get 2 megawatts. But really you should design for the lower one. So all that information is there. Appropriate land tenure, we have no problems. These are not places with settlement. We have our water law already, and I have actually sent it to Alaji Bello, right? Sent a whole host of things to you guys ahead of time. The water law is broad enough to include new users. But if you feel that we need to actually use irrigation language users in there, we'll do that. But we think it's broad enough. It's a 2021 law, so it's really recent. And budget support, we are ready. I have my letter here. A letter here is written by me, but I represent the government. Our government is committed to ensuring that we are on this, and that if we do get it, obviously we wouldn't commit 500 unless we are part of the program. So, you know, so I have that letter. Irrigation design, please go down. As I said, and the one, okay, this is Itakaji Dam. This is not shown on the same map, but that is Itakaji Dam, which is down right now. But we want to offer it for which side? You know, you can see it's in the northeastern part. So Itakaji and Ero are in the northern part of Ekiti, but Itakaji is on northeast a little, and Ero is on the northwest. Ureje is in central, and okay, it's like, and we actually have a Ogbese Dam, which is a hydro, it's a federal program. It's 5 megawatts. We're working on that. Actually, they've sent in 10 turbines in the past 2 months, but it's been on since 2008. So every time I go to Abuja, we try and find out what's new pin. Excuse me?
We started 2009.
Okay, you were part of it.
This is the project manager.
Oh, so you're Dan Ali, so you know Dan. Mr. Ali said he started as an engineer. He's retiring next year, so he wants to be sure he's ready before he retires. Go up and this is the last. Yes, if you stay here, please stay there. Down. No. Up, okay, up. The two areas, up. Yeah. The two areas that have been identified for irrigation are the ones, those pink areas. The pink area relative to Ero Dam is the one on the left. And the pink area on the right is what has been identified for irrigation for the Takaji Dam. So one is 1,000 hectares and the other is 600 hectares. Go down. I think that is the last. Okay, yeah. And then go down. Go down, please. Further down.
Yes. The power is very, very important because to run any system with generator now, that's why you are saying that the southern people did not like irrigation. We have a project at Middle. The generator that was installed is consuming 200 liters per hour, and that one cannot be sustainable. Then the CPI is also, we tried it, it's still consuming this also. So, unlike in the north, most of their projects is being run by channelization and flood system. So, what are you doing to alleviate the power problem in the southwest?
In addition, sir, in addition, I want, especially I want to talk on our three states. Or should thank God the commissioner is there. There is a time we have a project at Osun, installation of CPIs, not the one we are even talking about the other time. They gave us the site at Esaudu. There is a pool of water there. Yes. So, adjacent to the reservoir, they gave us about 20 acres of land. After award of that contract, Osun State government, they mobilized food and throw out of the site that they are not interested. That is what is affecting most of irrigation in Southwest. Like Middle, Lower, we have land more than 1,000 hectares. As of today, what we have there is not 100 hectares. All the land have been approached, even by the community and state government, on the land. So that is the major challenges we are having in this area of irrigation. The other time we are talking of water, especially, and the project I talked about is around 2014. By now, we have established water administration in Osun State, but due to their attitude, and then changing government every day. That's the challenges we are having in Osun State. So what can we do? Because the commissioner is here. So what can we do in Osun?
Well, sir, I may not speak on behalf of the past government. Government is continuous, and whatever liabilities that we may have recorded in the past, we can't exonerate ourselves. The government is government. So it is believed that the government then failed. But for my governor now to put his signature on this project and even committing himself to undertake on the 200 counterpart fund, he expressed his interest. I can even read the letter, unsigned letter to you now. But it's a strong commitment. He has even told me, he has commissioned me to go and open accounts. And they will start to drop the money there. So the governor now is ready. He has given us the marching order that we should get it done. And we have gotten one done now. I have reported to him and he's satisfied with it. So I want to assure you that this one, when you are committing money into a project, definitely there is no way you can receive your decision or you can retract again. So we are going for this project and there is nothing stopping us. So that's for us. Now, the second one is my colleague, my father here, has demonstrated the power section of the dam. I want to say here that we have, because we are focusing heavily on irrigation. And if we are talking that of Ichigo that we are choosing for irrigation, is the dam cannot generate enough power. But we have another dam, that's Owala Dam. Owala Dam can generate 10 megawatts. Owala Dam. In Okini axis. Okini axis, that's large dam. You know the dam. It's not Okini. We have been having issue and they want to change the nomenclature very soon. Yes, community, you just pass through Okini and it's about 10 kilometers to that town. So we are now using that Okini. So that's that area we have even said we are coming here to do unnecessary paperwork on that. So I don't know how we're going to do it because that place we are talking of where we can generate 10 megawatts, we cannot get up to 500 hectares in that area, in that axis. If we want to do that, it's going to be a very serious issue because the water has tributes of about 5 to 6 tons that cover that connects to 5 to 6 tons. So, and there's going to be and there are still a lot of issues along that area. So I don't know what we can do about that. Power in a place where we cannot irrigate.
Irrigate in a place.
Irrigate in a place where we cannot get power. Okay.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner for Water Resources for your contribution in this thing. However, I will address 3 issues where the consultants will finalize it. The first person to raise 2 questions. That's middle irrigation projects. We are aware of the problem over there for the generators to have. That was an ongoing contract now for connection to the national grid. If you are aware and if you are not aware, I think the United should be able to brief you properly. So just to solve the problem of the middle irrigation projects. However, there are some of your questions coupled with the attorney's question in terms of encroachment, which raised the issue of the lower Ogun, correct? Yeah, lower irrigation project because of their encroachment. I think there was in 2017 or 2016, 2017. I was working with the former director of Federally. We went there for an on-spot assessment of the project when you have a case of theft of equipment and some other things over there. So we observed that there were a lot of encroachment at the time. But however, that is why we have to put the project under consideration now, which I think the development have started so far. But for the continuous work plan now, that's why we have where's the template? The editing template. I want to show that from what the editing explained the other time. We wanted to create an existing law. If there is an existing law, there wouldn't be any issue of encroachment in any of the irrigation schemes any longer. So that is why we wanted the states to create those existing laws. If there are existing laws, I don't think there's going to be any issue of encroachment. If that is availability of laws or passage of recognized information yes, attached to water association. You understand? I think the consultant can now finalize on the one question that is remaining.
I'm just thinking about it now. How are you going to get 500,000
In addition to that, is it possible that your minimum average is 500,000, but can it be maybe 150 somewhere within the same area, 350?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll start with the EDN services. The project is actually, the department is actually irrigation and drainage. If you don't have irrigation, you will likely have drainage issues. So drainage issues, canals and drainage systems comes into play. We had Bayelsa come with us to January, and their issues were drainage, flooding, and the solution is drainage. So they readily come into this. So that's where Lagos falls.
Lagos, Bayelsa, and rivers.
All the Then your question about if you have 200 and 300 making 500. For now, this is what the requirement says. But that is not to say that if we have majority of the states in the southwest or in the south part of the country not able to get 500, I am pretty sure there will be the winning opportunity to come down a bit. He just stood up and said no, and in the wisdom of everybody, there's no way you say give us 1,000, just like Kanu, Zapara, Niger State. Yeah. So if the concern, so if the consensus is we're not able to do 500, but we can do multiple 250s or 300 or 400, I think it will be reconsidered. Like I said initially, all this criteria is not we're not meant for the criteria, they are meant for us, right? So it can be looked at once more, but we will have 500, the better.
Before you go, where has any irrigation project succeeded in the South? Is there any success story of irrigation in the South?
Any part of the South?
Any part?
I think readily in my mind, I said before now we used to think that irrigation is meant strictly for the north.
Yeah, fine, but money has been spent on irrigation program in the South, somewhere or the other. Where has it succeeded?
I won't point readily, but I know I've been involved on projects in Cross River, each irrigation scheme, fantastic, laudable. ETBT irrigation scheme, actually, it's actually flood and irrigation scheme.
Okay, flood.
Flood, yeah, they actually contain the flood with flood dikes, and then leave some area that gets overflooded. When the flood recedes, is very fertile for agriculture. I'll be involved on 2 of these projects. So there are several projects that have been designed, but usually irrigation schemes, like every other project in the country, have suffered in the past. But they're very possible, very feasible, and very doable. Possibly will be the sponsor of people to actually pinpoint and say these are success stories. And possibly the attitude. People don't even believe that they have need for irrigated farming in the southern part of the country.
Same as fertilizer.
Exactly. In the past, yeah. So right now, I think the thinking is becoming different.
I don't know whether it is possible. I will still need you to, possibly you and some of the team, I will personally need you in Osun State. I will. Whatever it will, don't let me say whatever it will cost to World Bank. But I think there are some brains that you need to talk to, that the system needs to talk to. I'm sorry to say it in my state, for this project to grow. It's very laudable anyway. Whenever you present a project like this, the commissioner for budget will say, this is a good project. The commissioner for finance will say, this is a good project. But when it comes to the issue of loan, they start talking but. You know, you have said that this project is laudable. Then why are you putting but? But if we have a system that can define, that can erode that but, I think they will see reasons why this project should go.
Your brother signed on now.
So before you answer the question, let me add that. Honorable Commissioners, I think it's better to channel this thing towards our Don. You know Don?
Don Commission.
Don Commission. The Southwest states have a commission, which they call it. They always meet. I think maybe through your governor, His Excellency, can talk and look at the Secretariat of because it's very easy for them, so that all the state governors were during one of their meetings. Because they rotate, then they can be fighted. So that all of them will be at, and they should bring all their commissioners for budget, economic planning, agriculture, and so that's the only way out. See, we always expect them to come to the National Council of Water, but majority of them, you are there. How many do you see from South? No. And in the north, there are 19 northern states. At least you see 14, 11. That's a good number. And the others all we even discuss whatever you discuss within themselves, they have their way they meet. So I think the South Nigeria is supposed to have a change of attitude to this. So if we can do it through the governors of the Southwest, then they can take it to the caucus, the senators, red caucus of the South. You know, they have it now, so that they should wake up. Thank you.
Yeah, I think
photograph. So I want us to stand up and recite the second stanza.
You didn't talk lunch now.
No, lunch will come. No problem, sir. Lunch will come. Ìyẹn ṣe pàtàkì, sir. Ó ṣe pàtàkì gan. The hall. So let's stand up and recite it. The commissioner's house. 1, 2, go. Amen. Thank you for coming. So we'll find out for a good photograph outside.